And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Hope that you are all doing well. Welcome to Saving Money Unapologetically with your host, PG. That's me. Well, as the screen shows, and as you can very well see for yourself, I want to talk about Aldi's. I don't know where you are geographically located, to all of my listeners and viewers out in YouTube land. However, if you have a nearby Aldi's, we're going to talk about Aldi's right now. If you do, and you are like everyone else here in the United States of America, some people are experiencing extreme financial difficulties right now. Moving forward, I can't say what the future is going to hold for this nation. But what I can say is time is of the essence, and the holidays are fast approaching. So I thought that I would come on because my channel is, of course, all about saving money unapologetically, saving and budgeting, and keeping a little here and there for safekeeping and for those rainy days. And rainy days are up on us. And I'm not talking about wet rainy days. I'm talking about things are happening all across this nation. People are losing their jobs. People have already lost their jobs. We have a whole lot going on, folks. So keeping with the season that we are fast approaching, still being thankful that we still live in a semi-free country. It is not a dictatorship as of yet, even though we are teeter-tottering on an authoritarian regime. That's in my opinion. This is my channel, and I am entitled to have my own opinion. But with trying to leave politics outside of this, I want to move forward and talk about how to budget or preparing for November 1st when some people may not get their food stamps. And we're talking approximately 42 million plus people in this nation who may not get November's food stamps or food assistance. That is a safety net program, folks. And it is very unfortunate. The government has shut down, and right now I don't see it opening up anytime soon. Hopefully it will, but who knows? And even when it does, there's no guarantee that those safety net programs will start and pick up where they left off, because that's the kind of things that we're dealing with right now. So with that being said, on the screen, we see host Thanksgiving for 10 people for just $40. And you do see an extra by $40. And what that extra means is if it's just one person or two people, maybe a family friend or a friend and yourself, and you want to do Friendsgiving or something, or maybe it's yourself and a single neighbor or widowed neighbor or someone, even a coworker, whoever, you may not need everything that Aldi's is kind of put together for the Thanksgiving meal. So it could actually be a little bit less than 40. If you are really tight and strict with the budget, you can do it for a little less. If you have a few more dollars in the pocket and you want to add something, my thing is, I would say we can probably stick to under $50. And that's by taking away a few things, adding a couple things, and still walking out the door and being able to feed comfortably, I would say 8 to 10 people. What Aldi's has to offer is on average a whole turkey, anywhere from, I guess it would be 12 to 14 pound turkey that would feed about 10 people comfortably, I would think. Um, for those prices, for this particular price range of $40. Now, this does not include tax, folks. So let's, come off your, oh, I went there and I tried it and it was $48 and change. I'm not trying to hear it. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't get down in my comments telling me something crazy, because I'm not trying to hear it. All I'm trying to do is put this information out as a resource and as a guide to help people who want the help and who can take this idea, take this resource, and move forward. Go out and buy them some food if they have that to spend. If not, if you already have your Thanksgiving plan and you have the extra $40, $30, $25, $50, whatever it is you have, my suggestion to you, or to whomever is listening, shore up your pantries. Purchase some of the items that are non-perishable, such as some of the canned goods, evaporated milk, condensed cream of mushroom soup, condensed cream of celery soup, chicken broth, those kind of things, especially cans, and in the cartons and what have you, have long expiration dates. You can add that to your pantry and you can use those items for things in the future, for meals in the future. This also includes Hawaiian sweet rolls, of course, pie crust, to make a pumpkin pie, canned pumpkin, frozen cut green beans, or the canned green beans, a couple of cans of those, or maybe 3. It depends on if you're going to make a green bean casserole, if you're going to smother them down Southern style and put a few white potatoes in there and stretch it out, maybe a few bacon bits, or crumble up some, if you have some spare bacon that you can fry off or bake in the oven, or whatever you want to do. However you do it, put smoked sausage in it, I don't care, ham hocks, whatever. Do it to your liking, do it to your budget, do it to what's going to suit your needs and your family and our friends. I would suggest that you pick up a few things. The canned pumpkin is 100% pure canned pumpkin. The Aldi's brand, I've bought it myself for some muffins that I did. I've purchased it for some other things before. Had no problems with it. This $40 meal includes shells and cheese, or macaroni and cheese in the box kind. Add a left hook, put a twist on it, your spin on it, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it. And you can make it taste decent. Put some seasoning, add a little butter, maybe a little milk, some extra cheese, whatever you do to your mac and cheese, or your shells and cheese, or your pasta, or you may not eat macaroni and cheese, so then that's 2 items that you can take off and add 2 more items to substitute for that. It also talks about yellow onions, baby carrots, celery. It even talks about the brown gravy mix. Of course, that's the powdered brown gravy mix. You may like the one in the jar, or you may want to make your own. I don't know, and I personally, it matters none to me. I'm just basically going over the list of items that you can get for the $40 plus tax. If you have, a food subsidy, or food stamps, or EBT, whatever, you call it. If you have some left over from the month of October, you may have extra $5, $10, $15 on your food stamp card or your EBT card. Then go to Aldi's and pick up what you can. Spend that if you don't get the November's allotment, and then pay your cash. That could help stretch your budget some more. You may have an extra few dollars left on your food stamp card. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what your situation. Everyone's financial situation, everyone's family dynamics, and family situation or households are different. No two are alike. They may be similar in nature, but no two are alike. It also talks about the French fried onions that you put across the top of a traditional um, green bean casserole. You may not like that, so you can omit that. You may be able to pick you up something else. You may be able to pick up a couple of pieces of fruit to put on the table in a bowl or something, or to to add to whatever it is you have. It talks about celery, cranberries. You may want to do your cranberry sauce or your gelled cranberries or the whole cranberries. I don't know what you like. I like ocean spray. I like it the easy peasy way. I do not like whole cranberries. I will drink cranberry juice all day, every day. It doesn't matter. But I do not like whole cranberries in my cranberry sauce. I like the gelled cranberry. I like ocean spray. Do I have to have ocean spray? No. But I'm saying what PG likes. So there you have it. 3 pounds of sweet potatoes. So you can do baked sweet potatoes. You can do maybe candied sweet potatoes, candy yams, smothered sweet potatoes. Maybe do sweet potatoes and marshmallows as a little casserole, and then do the pie crust. Or I like sweet potato pie. I will eat pumpkin pie, but that is not my favorite for Thanksgiving. I like sweet potato pie. Most black people, we like sweet potato pie. We'll eat pumpkin pie, but traditionally, in most Southern black families and households, we had sweet potato pie. Do whatever you like. Pie crust is included in this money for $40 for one money. Chicken or the cornbread stuffing, 2 boxes of that or 2 bags of it. I'm not sure how it comes over there at the Aldi's, because certain Aldi's in certain neighborhoods and in geographical areas have certain items that they may not typically have in other Aldi's across the country. Russet potatoes or Irish potatoes, 10-pound bag. 3-pound bag of yellow onions. In this, they are suggesting that you get whipped dairy topping or Cool Whip, probably their brand. It's just as good. Did I leave out anything? The Hawaiian sweet rolls. Let's see. We talked about the chicken broth. We talked about the whole turkey. They have the Jenny O premium frozen turkey. Some Aldi's may have some other brand. I don't know. I'm just the messenger. This is pretty much what you could come up with if you stuck to their suggestions of the items that they have for the $40 plus the tax. And on that table, you see the shells and cheese, the turkey, of course. Looks like some cranberry sauce, or some whole cranberries glazed over with something. The carrots. There's also the green bean casserole. And there's the stuffing, as well as the turkey, of course. And there is a pumpkin pie. And then looks like that's a sweet potato casserole with marshmallows. So, and mashed potatoes. And of course, gravy. So that is, in rolls, folks, that is a complete meal. Now, I notice on the table, and I'm sure some of you have as well, if you take a good look, there is a pitcher that appears to be clear liquid, so more than likely it's water. They may be serving water. They may have had a before dinner, maybe a bottle of wine that, I don't know. It depends on what's in your budget. You may pick up 2 liter of Sprite, a cup of 2 liters, or Coca-Cola or cola or whatever it is. Or you may make maybe some tea, you know, iced tea. Who knows? Or you may just serve water, or you may ask your guests, if you have a few guests coming over, to bring maybe, the beverages, maybe a dessert, or maybe another side dish or whatever. This is all in keeping with a budget and being able to still celebrate the holiday. Now, not everyone will eat everything that you see on the table. So, like I said before, when I started out with this conversation, to all of my faithful subscribers and my loyal subscribers, and even the new subscribers, or the people who may just happen up on my channel and see this uh, vlog or podcast, then I implore you to take a look around in your kitchen and in your pantry and cupboards and see what it is that you have in an abundance of, and perhaps use those items as a side or a couple of side dishes. And if you have perhaps powdered seasonings that you could use, where you won't have to necessarily purchase thyme or sage or salt and pepper or onion powder, garlic powder, Cajun seasoning, poultry seasoning, then use what you have, especially if you have enough of it in order to cook this particular meal for the holiday. So that right there can save you by shopping out of your cupboards and your pantry and making a list of items that you already have on hand that you may not have to repurchase. Or if you have one or two of the items, or two or three of the items, then that money, if you took out the $50 or the $40+ for with the tax, some of that can be substituted for something extra for maybe the following week or a few days after the Thanksgiving holiday, that you want to plan to, say, use all of your leftovers. You may want to actually add a few things to help tide you over to the following week. That right there is still a savings, because you've used up some of the items that you already had. Maybe you want to replace those items, or you have an abundance of some of those items, so you don't have to purchase those. You could actually purchase a couple things that you are completely out of, or that you would like to shore up and have on hand, that you weren't even thinking about. But now that you're there and you're in the Aldi's and they have some decent prices on a couple of things, then you may want to just go ahead and purchase those items. It doesn't necessarily have to be just for that particular holiday meal. A budget, again, is a budget. Some extra budget friendly ideas for Thanksgiving and or Christmas dinner is to cook from scratch as best you can, or as much as you can. Because when we purchase items that are already pre-made, we pay an extra price on those items because it was already prepared. So that goes into factoring the cost of the items. That right there can save you some money. If you make, like, okay, the 10 pounds of the russet potatoes, well, you may only use 2 or 3 pounds, or you may only use maybe 4 pounds out of the 10 pounds. So you have 6 pounds left over. That may be 4 or 5 potatoes left over that you can make maybe a couple of more meals out of. Put those down in your fridge, in your veggie drawer or whatever, or keep them out on your counter, however you store them. But I'm just saying, you can use some of these items that you're purchasing for that meal. You may have that to use at a later date or a later time. Definitely, while you're in the Aldi's, if you're going to take them up on, their $40 meal deal, then while you're there, I would walk around on the aisles, and definitely on their clearance aisle or the middle aisle, to see what I can find that is also on sale that I maybe didn't know about. And I have an extra $2 to $3 to $5 or whatever that I can stretch, or I can add another couple of cans of tuna, or I can add maybe a box of converted rice, or I can add maybe a bag of beans or a couple of more cans of beans. Maybe I need to purchase another bag of pasta. I have one or two already in the pantry, but I want to sure up, so I'll add another, bag here and there, or a box here and there, or a can here and there. So that adds up, and that makes your pantry stretch, and that helps to build your stockpile. Shop the sales for budget staples. A lot of things are going to be on sale as best that they can be. Some things will be in short supply, folks, because let's face it, the tariffs are really taking its toll on the retailers. The retailers are passing the higher cost to us, the consumers. We still have to purchase things in order to survive as best we can. So please keep your eyes and ears open and peeled for certain sales on certain items. And when you have the extra, even if you still are trying to go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, maybe only you normally do this 5 days a week when you're going to work. Maybe only do 2 and save the other $15 that you would normally spend on, in those 3 days, and put that towards, your meal budget for the holiday. And within that, you can actually buy a few extra items. Make a game out of it, perhaps. Save what you can while you can, and when you can, and where you can. Simplify the menu. If you can't afford turkey, then get a whole chicken, perhaps. Um, if you don't want a whole chicken, then and it's just a couple people in your household, you and maybe your child and your husband or your spouse or your significant other, your partner, whatever, whomever, matters none to me. Think about purchasing maybe leg quarters. Think about purchasing maybe a big steak, something of that nature. Maybe a pot roast. There's, turkey parts, actually. You can purchase just maybe 2 drumsticks. They're huge. Or 2 turkey wings. Bake those if you don't want a whole turkey or can't eat a whole turkey and it's only 2 people. Or just a turkey breast, a breast of turkey. Maybe 2 thick, 3-inch thick or 2.5-inch thick pork chops, and stuff those with stuffing. There's so many alternatives that you can do for a festive holiday meal. You don't have to necessarily have a turkey if you don't want to. If that's too much for you, or if that's just overkill. You can do a lasagna. You can do a seafood lasagna if you want. You can do vegetable lasagna. There's so many meals that you can cook. You can buy maybe 2 Cornish hens, or 1 if it's just you, and you want to hurry and eat the food and not let the food go to waste. Folks, be creative. Simplify your menus for fewer dishes. Don't cook as much. Don't try to overwhelm yourself or go over budget just because you're trying to prepare the Thanksgiving meal. Yes, you want to have a meal at Thanksgiving, but we have to look at, hey, there's always tomorrow as well. We have to eat today, and we're trying to eat tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. So life still goes on. And all I'm saying to you, my loyal listeners and subscribers, and people who just happen to come up on my channel, please don't beat yourself up. Give yourself some grace. Thanksgiving is not just about what you're spending. It's about being grateful and fellowshipping. If you invite a few people over, like I said, ask them to bring a dish, maybe a potluck, Or maybe you can suggest to them, if you are kind of shallow on, say, the veggies, then ask, if it's 2 or 3 more people that you're inviting over, ask each one to bring maybe a vegetable dish or side dish. Let them know if you have someone that's allergic to something or whatever, or that that you're allergic to something. Let them know. That way, it won't be so that people are eating the food and somebody ends up sick or someone ends up at the hospital. Those are some things to consider, and those are some things to put out there. Offer to bring a dish if you get invited somewhere, and say it's just and you get invited to maybe 1 or 2 places, or to 1 or 2 people's homes, or wherever their event is, or wherever their meal is. Then offer to bring a dish. They may not say, "Oh, I got it. Well, no, I'd like to bring something." Definitely. That's one, it's going to save you money. 2, it's going to get you out of the house. 3, you're going to be fellowshipping with other people. And it's a win-win. You show up, you bring something, whatever it is. And then offer to maybe help clean up after the meal. A lot of times there's an abundance of food that's left over. People say, "Hey, do you want to take a plate with you?" Sure, take your plate. If they ask or whatever and there's food left over, ask. Even don't be shy. "Hey, can I have a plate?" And I'm more than sure no one's going to turn you down for a plate of food to take home for the following day, or maybe later on that evening or whatever. And they know that, you're by yourself or whatever. Sure. One, it helps to get rid of food that they would normally just keep in the refrigerator, and after 2 days or so, they're throwing it in the garbage can. Most people. Well, that's pretty much all I have, folks. I talked earlier on about Aldi's and their $40 meal deal. Just as a recap here to do this, I said, you could ramp it up a little bit by $10 more and say under $50, or you could lower the $40 by omitting some things that that your household or your family members or friends, that they don't eat or you don't eat. Don't buy it. You can kind of tailor that to suit your needs, folks. Myself, I said, hey, Thanksgiving dinner 2025 under $50. And I was thinking ahead of this, where if you had the extra $10, or say you had a few dollars, like I said, left over on your EBT cards or something, or you decided you were going to save $15 and not go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts for 3 days, and add that $15 or $20 into your budget for the meal, then you could add in a few extra items to shore up your pantry, or to put in your pantry or in your cupboards if you don't have a walk-in pantry or a closet or whatever that you call your pantry. That right there is a savings, because some of the items, remember, folks, are going to be on sale. So if it's on sale and you have the extra, and that you say you use Jiffy, and maybe Jiffy's on sale for 50 cents a box, or maybe 59 cents a box. I'm not sure what it is, and you can afford to buy 2 or 3 boxes. Buy 2 or 3 boxes. Say you already have 1 or 2 boxes at the house. Okay. Well, that's anywhere from 5 boxes or 4 boxes or whatever. That's extra that you don't have to buy in a few weeks. Buy a bag of rice. Buy a couple of more cans of beans, or a bag of beans, or, hey, I don't know. You may want to buy a couple of cans of evaporated milk. Maybe buy shelf-stable milk. Those things have long expiration dates, and you will be able to use that at a later date and later time. When money is tight, things may not be as plentiful. You can reach into your cabinet or your pantry, and you'll have a few things that you can pull from. A savings is a savings, no matter what time of the year it is. Anything that you can do to help sustain yourself and to make it easier on your pocketbook and or wallets or whatever, do it. Because we're facing some tough economic times, folks. We don't know what 2026 is going to be like, but I can tell you this, it won't be very, very comfortable for some people. That's for sure. So while you have the time, while you have the energy, while the things are on sale, and there's enough to go around still, and you have the extra few dollars, put forth the effort. Start now. There's no time like the present to start adding a few more items to your pantry, a few more items to your cabinets, a few more items to your extra closet that you have where you're storing some extra things. Purchase those items when you can, while you can, and when you can save money in purchasing them. Don't forget to use the cost-saving apps, Ibotta, Fetch, Swagbucks, Shopkick. All of these apps, some of them give you cash back in the form of gift cards, or some of it you can just transfer straight to your PayPal account. You can use that for gas. You can use that for extra food. You can use that for lunch. You can use it for, perhaps to pay a bill. No, you're not going to get rich quick out of it. No, you're not going to get rich by using the cost-saving apps or the money-saving apps or the cashback shopping apps. But what you can do is get back a few dollars that you spent on items that you were going to purchase anyway, and they're paying you a few dollars to purchase them because you were going to purchase them anyway. Why not? Don't leave the money on the table. You can do something with that. It adds up, folks. Trust and believe. It adds up because you're going to the grocery store anyway. You're going to spend whatever anyway, even if it was only $40. And there's 3 or 4 things that Ibotta is giving you a few dollars back on. Why not get the few dollars back and turn around, rinse and repeat? And what I mean by that is, why not get that back, roll it over to your PayPal or whatever, and then go buy a few more things that your family or you use to help sustain yourself. Then you can keep the other money that you would have spent and apply that to a bill, or apply that to your gasoline for your car, your vehicle, your motorcycle, your truck, whatever, or to buy extra food. It all adds up in the end, folks. I hope this has helped everyone that has been listening. I thank you for tuning in to Saving Money Unapologetically with your host, PG. That is me. If you can't use this information, all I ask that you do is please like, comment, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And share the information with family, friends, coworkers, neighbors. It won't hurt. It can only help. Thank you for tuning in. Y'all have a good rest of your evening, good morning, wherever you are, and good night. Bye now.